Admittedly, our hero burned a whole bunch of cooldowns. Dude, if bad guy walks into this trap, I'm gonna have an aneurysm. If bad guy walks into this freeze trap, I'm gonna have an actual aneurysm. I don't know that it was necessary to move the Steves, though. You can't be serious! Bad guy, not like this! Dude, the throws. Somebody sign this guy to either an MLB pitching contract or get this guy to the NFL. The throws are real. Welcome back, everybody. We're getting started a little early. Well, late, but earlier because I cut the countdown short. Struggling there because we're in a little bit of a rush because the patch is on the way. Few days, not even a few days, a couple days, maybe like a day and some number of hours at this point until the patch hits us, and that's going to break all the replays. And everybody took that as, hey, let's submit every replay that we've been sitting on for however God knows how long, because now the queue is like 50 games. So we're going to try and get through as many games as we humanly can. If you don't get as much attention on your game as you normally would have, it's because I'm making the effort to try and get them all in. So let's get to it. I have to let everybody know, got to put this in the beginning, I am part of the content affiliate program. That means the Phobies team does in fact give me coffee for producing Phobies content. So let's take a look at the games and get as many as we can in. I may end up just not putting in any effort as far as the like editing it, because there's just going to be so many games. I don't know. We'll see. Now we're jumping around a little bit in the queue. Karst is the first one up, but Karst wanted a particular game to make it into the reviews. So we're going to take a look at this one from Karst first. Karst, our hero here on Vile Vortis 11. Interesting game. Boss with a tractor versus Chuck with Gonzo Bonzo. The throwback, if you will, to initial release, set one, however you want to look at it. Let's see what we got here. So Karst has an interesting opener here. Like, I feel like we talked about this recently for someone else's game. Maybe Monster... Nah, it couldn't have been Monster of the Week. I forget what it was. But we did look at a Vile Vortis game where somebody had done something similar like this to Karst, and the response from Bad Guy was similar to this as well. Bottom line being, neither player is electing to go for Snowball, which I'm not going to lie, feels incorrect. Not putting Snowball on the board. We do get a creep out of Bad Guy in order to try and counter these dimensionals, presumably, but I'm not sure why. You'll be able to heal them. And if you dive to kill the one key, that just feels silly. Now, Karst Opener does allow for an early Crushmore, but you could have also done that with a Snowball already. Like, you are +1 panic point compared to the Snowball Opener if you didn't go a 1 key in addition to the Snowball. Like, if you explicitly wanted to get to 6 keys for Crushmore. So that is a point in favor of Karst Opener, and I think worth taking note of if you want to try something different on this particular map. Crushmore obviously has a ton of value being a lobber, has a terraform, a lot of different ways that you can apply pressure to your opponent or make their life more challenging. Now, Bad Guy's response is, as mentioned, very weird, because, like, all right, we poisoned the boomer for, like, half a second. Woo. In this particular case, we're getting some early damage onto the Hevo. Like, nothing from Bad Guy's response feels good right now. So this Hevo is going to get 1 hit. It's going to have to sit here on the spa. You might get a kill here on, like, the tickles, but then you're going to get a bad trade. So yeah, we're just going to go with the damage on the Crushmore, which of course can be healed off. Our hero is going to be able to claim or trade for the middle panic point pretty much trivially. But we do have the Gonzo coming down. Early Gonzo, definitely a problem on this map and worth getting into position, because now you have the ability to, A, use the ability more often, get it into range before you get your big things online instead of having to wait for the Gonzo to play catch-up. There's a lot of different advantages for placing the Gonzo onto the board this early. And in the Karst special, it's Glob. I haven't watched this, but I actually want to rewatch Killer Clowns from Outer Space because the game came out recently. I'm very curious I wonder if they'll, if any of these game companies are going to try and do an ASIM shooter where you're the Blob. That would actually be really cool. I don't really want to rewatch the Blob. Apparently, I know there was a sequel, but I think there might have actually been a third Blob movie. I could be wrong about that, but in either case, panic point advantage goes towards bad guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 phobies to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bad guy's banked up to 11, so of course we get the big nonsense coming out soon. So the Glob is an interesting choice. I mean, Karst is kind of a Glob specialist at this point. It wasn't mentioned in the notes about Akira. Let me see here. Hold on. Oh, wait, no. Did I read the wrong notes? Hold on. Oh, I read the wrong notes. So the notes here are totally different. I read the wrong notes. They were on the next line. Like I said, there's a ton of games. So the notes here, I beat Triple, Hevo, Gonzo, and Russell with all dimensionals. This must be enshrined for the ages. Okay. Wildly different structure to this game. Although it's funny that it kind of lined up like it was going to work that way. So this explains a lot more about Karst's build. Additional, both the start as well as the fact that we, of course, get the Akira Glob setup, which is one of the better ways to make Glob work. Essentially giving Glob two extra moves because you could pull it forward and then pull their guy one space closer. Bad guy doing their best to try and keep things rolling. We do have the boomer in the center, which is kind of obnoxious. Getting the boop here for additional displacement, but there's the Hevo. Now, there's a lot of damage here, especially since the Gonzo is active on the board. The question is going to become, does Karst go for a yoink here right now? It doesn't seem impossible, but I don't love it. Yeah, this looks like it's just repositioning here for now. Trying to open up some different plays. If bad guy decides to get cute, I imagine we can see a... Wait, what are we doing here? Oh, okay. We're opening that up for Glob. So just chipping down the boomer here. I'm not a huge fan of the AWOL coming out already. The reason being is that it is so frail. Now, admittedly, it came out before the 3.0, so you don't necessarily know that it's going to die incidentally. But I don't like one keys, and this is such a trivial thing, but well, most of the time it's trivial. It's not always. It's such a small thing about which one keys are used in which scenarios, and I don't like Boomer a lot of the time because people don't use it properly. And then things like AWOL, I understand because of the high damage output. It obviously helps out here. But it's so fragile that similar to people using Boom as their one key to try and recap points, it's like, that's going to die by accident before you actually get it to do a thing. Karst, obviously one of the better players in the game, so unlikely for that to have happened, but it's just one of those things that I don't like to see a lot of people do. And we get Scritch coming out, we get a buffer to counter the buffer on bad guy's side. 10 keys to 4 remaining, so this is a Russell, which honestly, from bad guy's position, like, this doesn't look bad, except, oh, by the way, there's an Akira still on the board, and somebody's going to have a bad day very soon. Like, you can't get the Hevo 3.0 with the Glob currently, but the Glob can seemingly safely take this panic point. There's not a lot bad guy can do about it. Now, we're obviously going to get the Russell activation here. Like, this is a lot of potential poison going down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Phobies. So there is room for a muffin, as Karst has stated in the past, whenever he does some of these, like, mono Phobie-type challenges. Karst allows himself to use utility Phobies, support Phobies like Shove Shark or Muffin or things like that. So we'll see if Karst elects to go that route here. I have to imagine they will, because even though there's a spa, like, this is a lot of effort to try and heal all these things, rotating it on and off the spa. By that point, Russell will be back online. Triple Hevo's sad face. Yeah, that seems accurate. That seems like an accurate description. Yep, there's the muffin. It's actually going to heal the Tooth Fairy. That's interesting here. Will we get a Clinico? No, we're going to go for one key. So Karst is planning on winning this game within the next cycle of Russell output. Karst wants to win this game before the next Caw, as opposed to gearing up for, like, a longer, more attrition-based game. Bad guy opting for Finnegan, the now standard glob counter phobie. All right, panic point advantage, good guy. Although that Crushmore's looking kind of beat up there. Still with the key advantage, so Karst could trade panic points. At some point, bad guy does have to make the effort to come after Karst. Ooh, Cupcake. All right. The plays are happening. Or soon to be happening. This is a 34-turn game, but I anticipate that we're getting the Akira pull in the next 2 turns or so. The Caw will be back up very soon, and once that happens, Karst is kind of set back pretty far. At this point, like, you can't even leave the Crushmore on the spa to heal up, because the Stabby's just going to croak, and you can't afford to give up any further Phobies at this point. So, the stacking of the poison damage will add up despite the spa. But yep, there we go. We're going to get the Yoink. Get the Cupcake going down on Stabby. All right, makes sense. That's over 1,000 damage from that Stabby, thanks to the Cupcake. That is a very dead Hevo. Akira will not get to attack, but we do get to glob the Hevo in the north. Just one-tapping the cassowary. Now, the Finnegan is in position, but that's 1,600 damage onto this glob. The glob is unlikely to die, but I guess it's possible given the Finnegan. Or not the Finnegan, the Gonzo, rather. But that's 6 attacks and a Gonzo attack that's required to do that. It pulls the Hevo into range of the Scritch and the Crushmore. Like, this Hevo's dead. Yes, Tooth Fairy eats it down there, but that's a very successful trade. And all of a sudden, bad guy's down to, like, 3 Phobies. Look, Akira's still busted. I'm not... If anybody's been telling you Akira's bad, they're just wrong. They're just wrong. It's easy to be like, oh, well, there's no other Phobie that could have set up that play, which is true, but, like... That play is pretty bonkers. Oh, wait, the Russell actually lives, but clearly the Caw is not active. Just play Bad Sushi in a game in celebration for the update. No more ability lock, as Fresh Air also makes Bad Sushi seem more like of a threat now. I mean, certainly more of a threat. Whether it's any good is going to be another story. I just don't know if Bad Sushi... I talked about this in the video that's going up tomorrow. I don't know if Bad Sushi does any... Like, does it actually do what you need it to do to be a real boy? To be a real Phobie? I don't know. Alright, so we clearly get the takedown here. I imagine Stabby will finish off the Russell. The question is, can you kill this Hevo 2.0? Ooh, it actually gets to get on the spa. That is bad news, bad guy. 3 to 2 Phobies. If you come after these, you're going to get displaced. There's really no way out of that. I guess you could try and pull back for a Gonzo play, but if you give Karst time to heal up, the game's going to end either way. Can't even kill off the Crushmore. It's a rough time to be bad guy. Yeah, those trades actually worked out very, very well in Karst's favor. Very well played. Akira does Akira things. Who'd have thunk it? I will say, in addition to all the other stuff, to credit where credit is due, Karst did a very good job of making sure that Phobies were utilizing the most efficient methods to eliminate their opponents as well as get heals and reposition, as opposed to like, oh, I'll just double tap with this thing. Karst was able to set up a series of single hits to then rotate everything to where it needed to be. The Akira pull for the lulls, sort of. I mean, it actually results in the effective takedown here. Bad guys going to go out on their own terms. Akira taken down. Gonzo with the dimensional damage. GG. Well played, Karst. Karst submitted a few different other games that we may have time to look for. We'll see. But like I said earlier, we got to go through... Gotta get through as many games as we can. Game 2, this is Jeremy on Last Rites. Further proof that owning Phantom makes you too predictable. Also, could you please do your best impression of the attractor death noise? I don't even know what the death noise is, to be honest. Isn't it just like powering down noise? You know what I mean? Like classic robot powering down sort of thing. I kind of want to get a soundboard, chat. Elmago, welcome. I kind of want to get a soundboard, just so I could do, like, I don't have to rely on chat necessarily redeeming points for things. We're getting an early snappy out of our hero here. What do you think, chat? What are your feelings on Last Rites? Do you think this is a good map? I feel like I haven't seen enough of it to really get a good sense. Alright, well, there's the attractor. We'll have to listen for the death noise, because obviously it happens at some point. Probably won't. I'm not going to pause and try and replicate the noise, because we have so many games to get through. Like, way too many games. I do like this play. Obviously, you don't want to take the center. It's just immediately going to die, but this also flips the panic point the bad guy took. Now, this possibly still dies. You can cook it with the snowball and hit it with the attractor. That should kill it. It's possible it does not, though. Wait, really? That doesn't seem correct. That doesn't seem like a good idea at all. Like, you'd way rather have that pole available, I think. Like, okay. So what you could have done instead is you cook the tickles, hit it with, assuming there was enough damage. Maybe that's not enough damage. But then you could have backed it up so that you threaten the attractor pull on all of our heroes' team next turn. Because it's like, oh, I have all this other stuff to back it up. I'm going to kill your bow mangles and whatever else. But I almost feel like you almost don't need to back off here, but we'll see. Misanthrope death noise on soundboard would be lit. I don't know how that stuff... Yeah, like, I gotta think about how to do some of this stuff. I was thinking soundboard stuff of, like, all the like, me screaming bees or Russell or stuff like that. Or the tilt thing. Which I kinda have on my stream deck right now, but... Yo, we got a Mildred. Things I didn't expect. But we do have Shove Shark to get this into position. How many cats, chat? How many cats? I didn't get to edit videos like I was planning to today. I ended up doing other stuff. There is another Russell. We're 2 for 2 for Russells on here. He doesn't have a death noise? Who doesn't? Misanthrope? Who is he in this scenario? Does he really not have a death noise? That can't be true. Really? I don't believe that. Also, bad guy. What the hell? Did that AWOL really have to move twice? That AWOL really had to move twice? I could have sworn it was in position to just kill the attractor. But I guess not. Is he getting trolled by chat about death noises? Well, the AWOL does eat it. This is not enough damage to cook the mother load. Now we have a poisoned and diseased Mildred, but I have bad news for you, bad guy. That doesn't matter most of the time. Ooh, the mother load got pulverized. Wait, why didn't bad guy freeze one of these? I guess because it got cooked? Wouldn't it have been better to freeze it rather than cook it? Alright, so the big Mildred hit eliminates corn. Save the mother load. Like, this doesn't seem like a very good sequence for bad guy. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, this generally seems bad for bad guy. I don't know how else to put this. There may be a more appropriate, more descriptive way to explain the situation, but I think bad fits. I think bad is just appropriate. Alright, so there's Phantom. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if I quite follow the whole Phantom predictability thing at this point. I feel like bad guy lost as soon as they lost their attractor. Now, admittedly, the Mildred is on a clock, so unless our hero really puts in the effort, excuse me, to try and ensure that the Mildred gets something done. Like, I'm not really sure what the hell bad guy's doing. What phobia am I most looking forward to out of this update? Skinwalker, probably. I want to see what Skinwalker does. And it's not to say I don't want to see the other ones. I actually really want to know. Like, a lot of it comes down to this. I want to know what a lot of the phobies do. And by the time this video goes live, we'll have already had the update for a couple days. So let me know in the comments what your favorite phobie from this update is. But, like, for example, how exactly does the new Miss Moffat work? How much does it cost? Because, like, as I mentioned in the video, it feels like it's kind of redundant, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But it does feel a little redundant given the existence of Shove Shark and Phantom. Seems pretty doo-doo. The spider? I don't know. I think the spider might be okay. Alright, we get the big Mildred hit going down on Blondie. I do love the animation when you're poisoned and diseased. Like, it just looks cool the way it flips between. That's a big hit that hits everything but the snowball down there. Hilariously, not a ton of damage onto the Blondie. Blondie's pretty tanky, and soon to be tankier. God, I might have to turn the fan on. It is, like, gross and sweltering down here. I realized I didn't have... Oh, no, not like this. Glob on Mildred. Here's the problem. Going double glob, or double Phantom targets, I think is kind of problematic. Because think about it. Now you've spent 15 keys to kill Mildred. Is that really worth it? Alright, so we're going to pin the glob in place. I don't know if that's necessary. Ooh, we're going for a heart push? I mean, I don't hate it. I don't know that bad guy can stop this. We're going to get a panic point advantage. Clinico can swing to the bottom. Or Droney can swing to the bottom. Are we going to go up 4-1? Doesn't look like it. Oh, no. The Clinico healed this turn, right? I kind of would have liked to have seen the additional panic point taken if possible. The reason being is that your opponent then has to spend even more effort to try and dislodge what you have, but I wasn't really paying attention to the actions. That being said, you're going to get a 4-1 with his bottom one and Droney anyway. And your opponent now has 3 guys. Like, that's 6 hits on the heart. That's a lot of damage. And that's before you consider the Murder Wing coming in and meatballing the crap out of you. I was about to say they just dead this turn, but clearly not quite. A well-timed push. A well-timed push. I do think bad guy got too cute. 2 phantom targets is a little bit too much. Additionally, the Russell just did nothing, kind of. Russell also getting buffed in the upcoming patch. I don't really understand why, but... Dead to panic points. GG. Yeah, I don't really get the whole predictability thing, other than, I guess, like, oh, they're gonna specifically pull out certain phobies while they have Phantom? I guess? I don't know. I'm not sure where that one's coming in, but either way, very well played to avoid getting blown out by the Phantom plays. Alright, hopefully they're all gonna be quicker games. DD 123. Our hero here on Last Rites. Interesting game, and Creepy Devil, true MVP. We've been seeing a lot more Creepy Devil, so it's clearly getting into people's hands. So this is interesting. We'll have to see how it plays out here. Trivolta seems cool. Benny seems like he's going to be the 3-key turret for Undead. Miss Moffat does seem less useful overall than the other team move Phobies. I think the new Moffat is going to... I know there's more to the comment, but I think the new Moffat is going to be... the Grailian of that series, if that makes sense. Omega definitely seems like it's going to do some crazy stuff. Omega, to me, is going to be binary. Either it's going to be broken or terrible, I think. Don't know how to feel about Electric Fish Tank. It's probably bad. And Blade Flying Phobie looks interesting. I'm curious to see if that thing is just... I think that's just a stat stick phobie, so it's really just going to come down to cost and numbers, obviously. Like, okay, what breakpoint does this hit? Does it hit a breakpoint? Whatever. There's no way Benny's a 3-key. I'm going to be so sad if he is. I could see Benny being a 3-key. Like, I don't think it's impossible. Creepy Devil. Mean old creepy. Yeah, I don't know what to think about Benny. I really want Benny to be cool, be good, because he looks really cool. And Skinwalker I don't really care about, because he's going to be locked behind a paywall for a month or so. Yeah, I'm curious what Skinwalker's ability is, because we saw it activate in the, or what appeared to be an ability. Maybe it's just part of the attack animation or something, or the summon. But in the trailer, it had an ability in that first part, and then we see it attack later, but we don't know what the ability does, because there was no visual indicator. I think Skinwalker changes his damage type to AoE. That'll be interesting. Also, speaking of interesting, this play here, willing to disease the Creepy Devil, because I don't think there's any world in which your opponent will think, oh, they're going to put a guy on a disease tile. Now, odds are your opponent does do exactly this play, but it's kind of funny. Definitely playing some mind games here. I feel like you could have possibly been... Like, I guess the disease tile you were on was fine. I was going to say maybe you could go to a different one. A lot of people are thinking it's separate mode for Skinwalker, like Werewolf. We were talking about this the other day. I would like to see... It would be interesting to see Skinwalker assume some of the attributes of the things around it, or whatever it targets. Because, like, that's what a Skinwalker monster does. It shapeshifts into you, or whoever's identity it steals, kind of thing. So I think it would be cool if, like, oh, it changed its type to undead or whatever, and then does something, you know, like it gains life leech or it gains a health buff if it turns mech or whatever. But that's probably glob levels of complicated. So we're going to get the snipe here. This is a pretty good trade, in my opinion. Obviously, between the disease and the boom and the proximity to the vault, this creepy devil's not long for this world, most likely. Probably just a name thing. I'm sure it's going to be. That man knows how to use the pig well. Yeah. Although I will say this forever. I understand I thought Warthog first too, but the face is there. Like, look at this. You can see the little nose by the nostrils of the Warthog. If you picture the nostrils as eyes, it looks like it's a, it looks like it's a little face. I'll figure it out tomorrow. Somebody will buy it. Yeah, somebody will buy it. I'm not even remotely, like, hopefully I'll buy it. Or Karst. We will find out soon enough. I mean, realistically, the devs give the content affiliates the assets, so, like, it'll be in the Phobie Finder as soon as they hand it over. I do have to update things to include the new balance patched Phobies, so that people can find them out of game. I used to have that bot that would allow you to pull stuff, but the problem is the servers I was using now, like, they had a free tier, and now they don't. Bad guy getting some mileage out of booping the old Jin Sting. Bad guy's trying to do the same thing that our hero did in the last game, but 9 keys are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 Phobies, 9 keys. I do think the Creepy Devil did get value, even though it only got that 1 kill, because removing Innocuous from your opponent's side is kind of a big deal. The question here is, how are we going to answer this Jin Sting on the heart? Boop into Yoink. That gets you some poison. I don't know if this is a dead boomer. Apparently not. That is a Chuck, though. And the dimension of the challenge play to get the Chuck into range to play defense, you'd love to see it. Speaking of defense, or more accurately, a lack thereof, the reason why I didn't get as much done today as I wanted to is because I was watching some football. I was watching the A7FL, which is a, I guess, amateur league, you would call it. I don't want to call it semi-pro. I don't know if they actually pay the players. I presume they do, because it's all over the country. And it's the semifinals, I believe. And the game that I had to stop watching right before I started the stream, when I turned it off, it was 72-68. There was, like, no defense being played at all. It was actually hilarious. Cooking the Jin Sting, not quite enough damage. I do like the Innocuous bait, because obviously bad guy's going to kind of want to come after the Innocuous, but you're just going to get cooked. Oh, Benny is not just another 3-key turret, but it would make the most sense. I don't know if Trivolta is going to get a lot of value off of his ability since it's a one-tile AoE, but I'm excited to see what it can do. The thing is, and I talked about this in the video, but Trivolta, you have to kind of look at it as a Tiny Tim. Because if it goes in and powers down like a bunch of your opponent's guys, it's essentially taking half damage, right? So if Trivolta has a significant HP base, it could be a big deal. It's a ranged phobie. It has a relevant ability. So it's, as it is with everything, it's going to come down to the numbers. What does it cost? What does it have? Those sort of things. And we don't know for sure until we actually see it. Chuck getting the old shove shark treatment. Droney from downtown. I hate this. I have to pause here. I hate Droney killing Resurrect so much. I hate it so much. It is the worst and the biggest problem. It's not the biggest problem, but it is the biggest problem in Phobies today. Just saying. I doubt he has a lot of HP, does too many things, probably. Probably. But technically, neither does Tiny Tim. Tiny Tim doesn't actually have that much HP. So it'll be interesting to see where the numbers actually come out. Plus, you never know. GG. Bad guy throws in the towel. Like, we've seen a number of Phobies come out lately where it's just like, maybe those numbers aren't where they should be, one way or the other. So, we'll have to see. SirClueless, our next person up, unable to spell their own name. SirCluelessQ on hold still, using a fresh Steve's right out of the pack to bring in a new Ice Age. Wait, you went Steve's on this map? It's a bold move there, Cotton. Bold move there. Almost lost my pen, chat. Droney showing up again, doing what Droney does. Interestingly enough, bad guy elected to go with the Gravedigger plan right out of the gate. Into Snowball. Okay. I would assume so, but I feel like it's going to be an ultra rare that I'll never get. And like mech-ode said, it has a really powerful ability to just remove an action point for your opponent. It's crazy and probably have to take a hit in the stats. You could say that, but Collector does the same thing. So, like, what if Trivolta costs 7? Like, yeah, it clearly is going to take a stat hit for the power level of the ability and being ranged and all this stuff, but we won't know until we actually see it. I've talked about this in the context of card games before. I hate spoiler season. Like, the trailer is cool and all, and believe me, it was a very well-done trailer like it always is, and I enjoy watching the Phobies team, by the way, Droney Assassin, do their thing, especially from an art perspective. However, I hate spoiler season in any game because spoilers are so stupid. Obviously, they're a marketing tool, they're a hype machine. The idea is to get everybody excited about whatever the hell the thing is that they're doing. But, are you kidding me right now? Is this real? Oh my god. Why? Oh my god. Oh, God. I want to go to bed. I don't even want to watch the rest of these games. I don't even want to watch the rest of these games! I don't remember what the hell I was saying. Honest to God, like, that just completely shut my brain off for, like, a half a second. I'm lucky my heart kept pumping and my lungs were still working, because, like, my brain just completely said, nope! We don't want this. We don't like it. Oh, spoilers. Yeah, so I don't like spoiler season because I find it boring. Because it's like, it could be anything. It could even be a boat. And it's like, we have no idea the context. We don't know enough about this stuff. So, to me, it ends up being very boring. Everybody else gets excited. And don't get me wrong, like, I do like what we saw. The trailer was cool and all that kind of stuff. But, like, in the context of trying to figure out, well, what are we going to play? Will these things work? Does it matter? Is it worth spending the money or any money or whatever? Who knows? It could even be a boat. Spider dead. Spider dead. Spider dead. Squishing the spider. That spider's dead. I don't know. Something like that. I'm pretty sure both of these are dead now. Challenge play. Man, bad guy. Why do you hate your Phobies so much? What is it about your Phobies that makes you hate them so much? Because you certainly don't seem to value their lives much at all. Admittedly, our hero burned a whole bunch of cooldowns. Dude, if bad guy walks into this trap, I'm gonna have an aneurysm. If bad guy walks into this freeze trap, I'm gonna have an actual aneurysm. I don't know that it was necessary to move the Steves, though. You can't be serious! Bad guy, not like this! Dude, the throws. Somebody sign this guy to either an MLB pitching contract or get this guy to the NFL. The throws are real. Like, dude, that was like, okay, I get it. It's a trap. You can't literally see it. But this is about as telegraphed as it could humanly be. Clueless, are you like paying this man? Did you pay this man to take a fall? What? Oh my god. Fixed game for the highlight. Yeah, man, like, you can't be doing that. You get caught. Ugh, that's rough. Oh, we get the perma-freeze? The perma-freeze on the Jin Sting. Oh my god, we're beating the crap out of Puff. And Smotherbo. Dude, when was the last time you saw 3 Phobies frozen and it wasn't due to Frosty? Talk about Ice Age gaming. Like, this is for real. Oh. Bad guy thawed, but cooked Smother Mother. That's gotta smell terrible, right? Puff immediately regretting every life decision that it's ever made. Bad guy regretting every decision they've made in this game. Look, we're all laughing about it. We've all been in bad guy's position where you've made onboard errors. You just watch yourself slowly make horrible, more horrible and more horrible mistakes as the game progresses. Jinstin, that's gotta be a terrible way to die. Puff didn't get a chance to regret, bro just died. True. He just showed up and then, like, the question is, when you get frozen in Phobie Land like that, so you get frozen in Phobie Land, right? Is it like you're frozen in time because, you know, like your body shuts down because your heart rate and stuff, you're essentially asleep, you're in a coma or whatever? Or is it more like the G.I. Joe movie where they buried Cobra Commander, Destro, and Storm Shadow underground, and they were pumped full of the chemical that your body produces when you sleep that paralyzes you, but they were completely conscious the entire time? And if that sounds like a nightmare to you, it is in fact a nightmarish scenario. We'll see if this is a nightmare for bad guy here. Don Tinklesniff, bringing to you live from Hold Still. Trying to make sure I have the right notes here. What is this? Guess who's back? And I'm back with a couple of new toys. That didn't... What the... What? What is... On an unrelated note, I think Dial is one of the coolest animations in the game, next to Brony and Boo Fairy. I'm 100% sure Dial and Alistor are cousins or siblings. Just a thought. I feel like they're just friends. Like, I get where you're going with it. I get where you're going with it, because, like, the thing reaches out of the TV and stuff like that, but what if it's just, like... Well, wait, what's Alistor's attack animation? Doesn't she kind of just, like, slap at you? No, that's Mummy. What is Alistor's attack animation? You know what would be really cool is if Dial animated different attacks. Like, you had a different arm come out each time that it attacked, or it had a random chance of, like, 4 or 5, and it was supposed to be, like, different monsters that were on the TV. So, like, one would be a zombie arm. One would be, like, that spectral arm. One would be, like, a mechanical arm. Like, you could do one for each of the phobies kind of thing. I think that would be kind of cool. I don't really understand what the hell is happening in this game. Like, this is a fever dream already. That'd be dope. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. The pack is already here. You're going to open her on Tuesday. Wait, what? What pack? The season pack? I didn't play enough games to get a season pack. I played 7 games this season. And I'm not exaggerating. Somebody pointed it out yesterday. Bwom. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to stream Tuesday. We'll see. Barzilla. This game is a fever dream. This game didn't actually happen. This is all just made up. This looks like a trailer where they're just, all right, we're going to put funny-looking phobies on the board. The goon snipe goes unpunished. I do kind of appreciate the rusty goon play. Sheep? Dude, what is happening? What is this game? Holy crap. I told you, everybody held back and then submitted all their games at the same time just so they could cause me to, like, have my brain bleed out of my ears. Dude, Don Tinkle. My guy, not like this. Not like... What? I mean, you're going to get the 4 keys, but is this worth it? I was going to say, imagine if the numbskull was a rusty, but that actually wouldn't reach the daisy. Yeah, that was a big ol' fart. So obviously we'll get a muffin here. And like I said, clearly the sheep dies. You can't easily kill the opposing daisy. I don't think. But you can certainly get the Gesundheit and the sheep. Big Blom here, which is great for non-Tinkle. To be honest, and I was about to say this before I was getting distracted, like, this isn't a bad bait. Because... we're going to go for it. Okay. I guess you trade daisies. Like, that's fine. So it's 13 keys to 15 keys. And our hero has put the Phantom on cooldown as well as chewed through a significant amount of keys from our opponent. So, pretty effective. Although, not a dead Rusty yet. This actually, I wonder if they're going to pop the Rusty here. Barzilla's going to be poisoned for some time. And like that... Really? Why is... I guess in anticipation of this? Yeah, so the Rusty is going to lock down the Klepto. This is completely reasonable. You continue to heal through the poison. You'll be able to pick off the... This is a good play, too. Good play with the Shove Shark to save the Barzilla. Or get into position for a heal. But yeah, I was kind of memeing about the getting hit with the sheep, but the bait seems real. Dude, you're healing the Phantom? Is that even necessary? It's gonna die either way. And I don't think you have to put in a lot of effort as Don Tinkle in order to kill it. Alright, Goon might be live. No, Goon probably is not live with the Blom this turn. And if it is, we have another Fall Guy. Dude! What? Like, are these Fall Guys? Why did you line up for it? You built a conga line to get lasered into oblivion. Okay. I am not beating up on bad guy. Or the previous bad guy. This is not where I'm going with this. Also, that was an incredible... Oh, no! Bad guy, revenge of bad guy! Double takedown there, but, I'm pretty sure you killed these two? Like, by the way, Klepto only finally got unlocked. So, how do I put this? I always say that ladder is a shit show, and it doesn't matter. This is kind of why. Because while you may look at this game, especially in the context of viewer games or Monster of the Week, if you watch a lot of stuff on my channel, and you see the games, and you see how close they are, and how high level the play is sometimes, and, like, I would not be surprised if you looked at these games and went, oh, how could somebody possibly be that bad? Trust me. Most people in this game are that bad, or make that level of... Maybe they're not that bad as in, like, it could be an off day for bad guy. Everybody has a bad day, right? But the reality is that there are people who play at this level like this all the time. Like, there's always someone who is playing like this. And it's one of the major reasons that I really think that ladder is a disaster. And that's not a knock against anyone, whether it's the devs or the players or whatever, but when you're playing a ladder system, the goal is to grind many games. It is not even necessarily to have a high win rate. It's just have a greater than 50% win rate and play a bunch of games. And that assumes that your opponent's even trying to win as opposed to do something silly. So, like, the point is, bad guy walking in for the bait, or then sacrificing their whole team into the Blom, or like whatever, is just like, they were probably pooping. Didn't even notice. They are making a game of it here, trying to pressure that heart, but our hero has a lot of health left. Bad guy does not have a lot of health left. You can dial it again. Dude, dial. So good. I don't know what Clinico's planning on doing. Klepto's in a bad spot. Stuck between a Shove Shark and a Hevo. Takedown on dial. GG. Well played. Wait. Oh, okay. Never mind. The turn counter didn't switch over like I thought it was going to. And I'm like, how do you live another turn? But they do not, in fact. GG. Don Tinklesniff. Like I said, we're going to try and fly through as many games as we can tonight, chat. Beanofevil versus Lord Shinra X. My async tournament match versus Shinra. Super close and intense match here on Rise to Stardom. This is A Shriek. A Shriek is our async tournament series. It's running in parallel to Monster of the Week right now. No prizes for this one. This one's just for bragging rights and for funsies, but it gives people an opportunity to try stuff out. And we're actually getting, speaking of trying things out, a werewolf opener out of Bean and a Hydra opener out of Shinra. I did see both of these players discussing this, the Hydra response, because it kind of shoves the werewolf away. I'd have to look at the level 1 stats, and I'm not going to pause it now, because like I said, we have a billion games to get through. I'm going to keep repeating it because I'm tired. But the point is that you have to chew through a lot of numbers on both sides. The juiced up werewolf as well as the Hydra, so I'd be curious to see how the numbers shake out. I'd imagine werewolf probably wins this exchange, but I could be wrong. I don't actually know what the relationship between those two phobies is. Presumably, when Bean, since this is async, Bean looked at it, did the math, and said, nope, that's not going to work. I'm leaving. And they did. Get a quick poke here from Shinra. See, like, this is decent use of Boomer. There is a spa. You can cap that point, and you can get away. With obviously the Inoculus protecting the Boomer, there's just not I don't believe there's enough damage down there. I mean, I take that back. I guess with Jar, so like you could double hit with this, Jar, and then hit with Cat and clear this out. And Jar is not a bad thing to have on the board, but the problem is that might be a dead Jin Sting. Double hits from this and then the Cowbell. Oh, you don't even need it. Never mind. All right, so this isn't great use of Boomer. It just got bodied. It could have been any other 1-king. Hydra and Repeller are going to get some free shots here on Werewolf. Wait, you're not booping it? Okay. I guess that means it clearly is in favor of Hydra. Just got Brute Wurst from my bronze pack. Don't worry, it's getting buffed soon. Don't worry. Brute Wurst. I said it in the patch breakdown, but, like, I don't think the disease buff fixes anything that Brute Wurst has a problem with. We have dueling snot monsters down on the bottom. $50 disease damage, but, like, we talked about it because Atona asked the question, what if it had, like, 1,000,000 disease? And I still don't think it matters. I mean, 1,000,000 disease would be a lot, simply because Phantom exists, but, like, the issue that Brute Wurst has is the same issue that Collector has. It's a 1-move melee. I got the Golden Season pack, so the Tuesday I'm going to see what I got later. Fair. I thought people had said that the packs are locked in once they're distributed, but I don't remember. I really should know those things. As a content creator, I should know those things, but I never remember. I could go looking for it. Karst probably has it in the FAQ somewhere. Boop. Well, the Werewolf does have access to Spa, whereas the Hydra does not. So the Hydra is definitely going to need a heal in order to stay in this fight, especially given the addition of Sparky. That, we're still not quite maxed out. 6 Phobies, 10 keys to 15. What is Shinra going to add to the board here? Dude, I'm cooking down here. It's so hot. I can't find my thermometer. I gotta clean off my desk because I don't know where my thermometer went. Oh, here it is. I try to keep, like, so it's only 78, it says, right now, but it feels so much hotter. All right, some free shots on Werewolf, but it can, of course, swing back and forth. Look like we're getting all right, we're getting a Hematic, leaving 9 keys, still very even. Neither player wanting to commit to, like, sink all their keys into a singularly large phobie, at least not yet. But both players have that option now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on both sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yep. Second guess myself. Interestingly enough, neither player with a Terraform, neither player with a Flyer to try and cap the mid. Presumably to dodge the other player just blowing up the thing that went to the middle. Although I would have liked to have seen a Terraformer at some point to try and leverage something, like, at least threaten the middle. You know what I mean? Like, you go a Terraformer, crack it open, and then it's like, okay, I could sneak a 1 key in there or something at some point. Or rotate there with Quagmire, because Quagmire is likely not going to die. Muffin on the Hydra seems suspect, but in answer of the Oopsie Baby, we do get a flyer out of Shinra in Puff. Only the Jar able to interact with it at the moment. I mean, you could crack open the... Well, you actually can't, because you can't add a Gravedigger on the board, but I was going to say you could crack it open with a Gravedigger and then rotate stuff to poke it, but... Not going to happen. Panic Point advantage orange for now. Ooh, we get the big line. This feels like bait. It is going to cook the Jar, or should. Getting the big push. This is going to... A lot of potential threats here. I do like the idea of putting the Quagmire here with the disease. It's tanky enough that it should survive this. It also body blocks out, at least line of sight, the Oopsie Baby until the Repeller gets involved. But yeah, this looks like bait. I don't know if there's enough damage here to truly punish. I mean, not like the jar was a big deal. Sparky snipes the Repeller. Ooh, microscopic. All right, we got enough damage now. Soon to be buffed, although I'm pretty sure it's a health buff, so who cares? Werewolf willing to risk the disease to end Puff. Boop. The boops seem... Depending on who you're going to hit, like, you could have gotten... Oh, no, you couldn't have gotten double hits. The Quagmire was out of position. It didn't matter. So we get one hit. We get a power down. We're probably going to get the Quagmire to trade. I'll eliminate its counterpart. Not really a trade. Yeah, a little bit of an overextension there from Shinra. Mostly because of the boop, honestly. Like, if you lose the Puff, but you're able to counterattack this turn, you might be okay. Or in this case, you can just go Heart, which is, I think, what Shinra was planning to do the entire time. Because this is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panic points to 0. 1,400 damage on the Heart. Unfortunately, Oopsie Baby, Sniper, taking out the Inoculus. Gonna have to spend significant effort reclaiming panic points here, because that's like a ridiculous amount of damage. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it was actually 7 panic points. I forgot about the one at the top. So 4 to 3 at the moment. No easy way for our orange player to claim them back. 800 health. We'll have to see if that 75 damage would matter. Well, this actually results in more damage. Ooh, the Hydra killing the Sparky. 200 damage left. You have to claim enough panic points and not die. Boop. That frees up a panic point. But yeah, you have to do this. You don't have a choice. You got to claim the top one, or you did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But Shinra, because of the boop, now completely out of position. There's really no way to reclaim panic points here. Well, I mean, you can claim this one, but that doesn't get you back into an advantage. Might have been better off just trying to kill the werewolf, maybe? Well, you wouldn't have killed it, though, I guess. But I think you would have been better off leaving the Hydra there, unless you're expecting this werewolf to run like this. Either way, it doesn't matter. Ginsting is never going to run the gauntlet along the bottom. And Hydra's clearly too slow to try and actually cap all the points. The disease likely is not taking out microscopic this turn, so that means it can recap the center, and there's no way for Shinra to get that back. I think you probably have a boop online too, right? Oh, maybe not. Ginsting down. Down goes the hopes of our orange player. Our hero is going to take it. A groundbreaking buff. 900 and 950 health, yeah. Down goes Hydra. GG. Very well played. Very interesting game. Very interesting game on that map. So yeah, if you're a primarily async player, and you're interested in competing in a tournament, like I said, no prizes other than pride, hit up the Random Thoughts Discord. I'm going to give this person a pass for not favoriting their game because they are literally stress level 6 and they were stress level 1 at the time this game was played. This might actually be their first game. Or stress level 5. The bad guy, I think, was level 1. So, like, this is a very early on game. Counties is our hero here, Just Klepto. All right, let's see what we got. This ought to be, yeah, new guy. This is a new person, so shout out to them for submitting the game. This could possibly be wild. Low stress level games are generally bonkers because, like, players just don't know the relationships between certain phobies. Everything is brand new to them most of the time. It's crazy. So we are getting the protection here, even though you could have protected it differently. The early erratic play, because naturally that's as one does. Yeah. The old turn to erratic play. Now, I will give our hero credit here because they either knew or they've been caught before and remembered the murder wing across the top to snipe the jar plan. Although, given the stress levels, I think our hero was stress level 5 and bad guy was stress level 1. I wonder if they've leveled up their jar, and if they did, they may actually just out-level the murder wing, in which case it would have been perfectly fine. Although it would have died to, like, the follow-up jar. Like, the jar could have... Or no, the jar wouldn't have been able to reach it, so it would have been fine. But either way, it's a 2-0 panic point advantage. The cat's probably dead. Should be able to pick off the cat. That murder wing is dead. Cat's dead. Murder wing should die here. You just meatball leap and get out of there. Appropriately pulling it back so that way you don't have to worry about erratic accidentally killing it kind of thing. Remember the old days? Now I'm just higher stress level in Doomsday 2 and still trash. Ooh, interestingly enough, not willing to sacrifice the cowbell. Is bad guy not willing to trade jars? Because they could have sent the... Wait, really? That just seems worse. Yep, so we're going to get the trade here. Presumably some pokes here, and then backing off. Yep. Back going all the way to heal. And we're going to get the claim triple panic point advantage. The old sporadic erratic? What? Alright, bad guy going with the sheep. This is kind of more expected at this level than the one we saw on the hold still game. 3 keys to 9 keys remaining. I don't think this erratic is dead. Naturally, the counter sheep. Eternal Night, something we haven't seen in a very long time. Shout out to all my Tiny Terrors players. Nope, bad guy not willing to avoid the yoink. They're just going for it. That's a very much alive Klepto. Bad guy offering up their entire team. I don't think you can kill all 3, but you effectively kill all 3 this turn. Get 2 hits here. You're going to get the Klepto hits to clean things up. Yeah, bad guy is just cooked. The sheep is even in range of jar. Like, right now, it's in range of jar. To be honest, you could move the jar so that it's in range of the Hevo just to bait the Hevo into staying. Because if they stayed, they're like, it wouldn't one-shot it. So, like, they have to commit 2 hits and then it just dies. So, either way, bad guy's cooked. Apparently, we're gonna heart push because reasons. You could just kill their guys. You don't have to heart push. Just offering up the Gravedigger gang. Yep. Style points? Sure. Bad guy believing they still have a chance, retreating to the healing spa. Trying to. Panic point advantage. 5-1 Phobies. Probably a hard health advantage. Everything going in Hero's favor. Ah. Tired, chat. We still have like a million more games to go through. Bad guys surrendered. Try not to do that early on in your career because you don't get any of the rewards. Shouldn't be like that, but it is. But either way, GG. Evo getting chased down by a sheep with flatulence issues. Correct. Accurate. Factual. Ooh, another low-level game. Low-level, low-stress level. But you people gotta favorite your games! So I can find them. There it is. Home Sweet Home, once again. I'm smiling as our hero here. There's a Phobies that is rare to find in matches. Hints, it's a dinosaur. Well, I think there's literally 2 dinosaur Phobies, so... I think it's funny how he hit the sheep once and surrendered. It'd be funny if it was an Abacus game. There were a few on that profile, so yes, that would have been amusing. Those are Phobies. Bad guy, in fact, did play Phobies onto the board. But our hero here has clearly been taking notes, starting off with the stabby little turret action. Neither player claiming a panic point just yet. Maggie is not long for this world. Probably neither is that numbskull. Alright, so we are going to back off the stabby. Makes sense. I mean, you kind of don't have to, but I get it. I doubt the stabby dies. Even if it does, you then... I guess you could have positioned more aggressively to try and snipe the jar. Yeah, I guess this is probably best. It really, like, I don't know how the math works out. If the stabby would have lived through all, like, the Bachelor, Numbskull, and Jar attacks, then you would just leave it, I think. Interesting Maggie decision, let him cook. No. Somebody get this man out the kitchen. He's cooking too much. He's burning all the food. Get him out of there. It's burnt. We wanted crispy, not charred. Game was rigged from the start. That's the theme for tonight. Full zombies. Who? Neither player is on full zombies. He's overcooked the food to the point it's literal ashes. Yeah. Yeah, our hero's just kind of dismantling bad guy. But this is what happens at lower levels, and, like, we were all at this stage at one point. You know, like, we all were in these games. None of us came into Phobies with a ton of experience. I feel like your jar is gonna, or your murder wing is gonna die here, and it was not necessary. The heebie-jeebies special! Quite literally out of heebie-jeebies, chat. We need the new Benny Phobie to say this line. What line? What, to let him cook? Or that he overcooked? I don't know which line we're talking about. Fallout New Vegas gang. I never actually played. Well, I played like literally 10 minutes of Vegas and decided the game wasn't for me. Barzilla. I had a feeling this was it. The only other option was Pterodactyl. I don't know if Barzilla counts as a dinosaur. Like, does Godzilla count as a dinosaur? The game was rigged from the start. It was said by a character Betty and Fall. Okay. I just don't really like RPGs, chat, which is ironic because I want to go back to... I want to play Dragon Warrior on NES again. Like, I'll probably buy it for the Switch. Play it. I've been watching a bunch of speedrunners with... There's a randomizer that randomizes the world, which is kind of fun to watch. But, I just don't generally like RPGs. The reason is it's too difficult for me to, like... Because I don't play games usually, like, consecutively for several hours. It's usually, I'll play a game, go do something else, come back, play a game, go do something else, come back. So if I'm playing it in 20-minute increments, maybe, like, once every 2 or 3 days, I forget where the hell I am, on top of the fact that you're probably not accomplishing anything in that time period. So I end up avoiding RPGs and games like them because I just don't remember what the hell I was doing most of the time. I'm not gonna lie, there's really not much else to add to this game. Our hero is just at every turn taking their opponent apart. Probably more so than even the previous game, which is kind of funny. Honestly, you could have pushed up with the stabby. Because if your opponent wants to, like, try and fight the stabby, they're just gonna die. On an unrelated note, new Space Marines 2 trailer's looking sick. Every trailer I've seen for that game looks amazing. I will probably stream that game. GG there, I'm smiling. Well done. GG. The tough part about watching those games where, especially for a new player... Like, I kind of want to be like, oh, well, here's things you could have done differently or things you could have improved. But A, they probably don't have many of the phobies. And B, the other problem is, all right. You know to favorite your games. The other problem with looking at newer players' games is that not only do they not have stuff, like, the game we just watched, they just took them apart. Because their opponent was, and I'm not insulting them, but like they were just clueless. They didn't know what was going on, and they sacrificed a whole bunch of their stuff for freezies. So it's kind of like, well, what should I do better? Well, rank up out of your league, and then we'll talk. It's kind of what it boils down to. But that was the last game. This game is mech-ode, Bad Side versus the World. That sounds like a band. Sounds like a band. Like Jimmy Eat World. Also, I swear to God, I thought the noise from Bad Side spawning was a noise from upstairs, and I'm like, what the hell is that? Oops. Oops, he says. That's no excuse. That's not an excuse. Anyway. But yeah, I'll probably stream Space Marine 2. I really liked the first game. I really enjoyed the first game, and I knew basically nothing about Warhammer at the time. I just played it because it was like, oh, this looks cool. And it's very much my kind of game, like third-person action game like that. Because compared to... It has RPG-esque elements, but the way those games work is you are able to... What the hell is this? Is this cassowary going to do anything? This cassowary is like running suicides. It's running up and then coming back, and then running up and then coming back. And it's like, what are you doing, my guy? Come on. But yeah, I didn't know much about Warhammer then. I've learned a lot more since then. And, like, I don't think I'd ever actually play Warhammer itself because the game takes too long to play, and a lot of the other games are just out of... They're not things that I necessarily would enjoy. I like some of the strategy games. All right, so Ted goes down, but, like, who cares? All right, another sheep. Chat, we need to have, like, an over-under on the quantity of sheep every time we do viewer games. Also very expensive to get into. Yeah, I mean, there are other mini-games that I want to try. Like, supposedly Star Wars Shatterpoint is pretty good. Supposedly Star Wars Shatterpoint is pretty good. My wife and I had bought Carnival. I've talked about it before years ago, and we never really played it. I love the... and I have Blitz Bowl, which is a kind of like streamlined version of Blood Bowl, which I really like. It's just... There's not enough time in the day to play all the games I want to play. And if a game takes longer than 45 minutes to play, first of all, that's an extremely long time for me. Second of all, like, if it takes longer than that, not happening. Also, this Quagmire, not happening. I love Bad Sheep. He saved a lot of battles. Bad Sheep is way better than plain Sheep and Gas, in my opinion. So we've now seen Rusty get value in 2 different games, which is pretty cool. What is it with the Gesundheits, though? This is also another... I mean, the one game... I guess... The one game on Hold Still, whoever's game that was, had Gesundheits, and I feel like that was just trolling. Like, one person went that, so our hero went that too, just to troll. Maybe. I don't know. I kind of wish the visual effects... So, the cone from Rusty, or Dozer for that matter, or fire, or poison, or disease, or whatever, I kind of wish you could see the number of turns remaining without having to click on the phobie. I think that would be problematic from the perspective of just, like, visual clutter. I guess that's acceptable. By the way, this bad side is going ham. But our hero's, like, almost out of keys. Bad guy still has 7 left. The sheep should be coming back online next turn. Daisy. I mean, the sheep is dead, right? This bad side hasn't moved in, like, 6 turns. And it's just gunned down everything. Misanthrope. Gotta match. See, what's important in this game is avatar strategy synergy. If you're not using the phobie that's in your avatar, what are you doing? What are you doing? The life of a turd is stationary and gory. True. A true statement has been made. As bad side immediately rebuts that argument by moving. Bees. I have to imagine that bees don't do a lot to a mechanical creature, right? Like, how many bees would it take to actually realistically impact Bowmangles in virtually any capacity? Do you know how many bees that the only way that would make sense is literally weighing them down, or actually, so here's it, if you don't know this, one thing that bees will do when they have intruders, say like a wasp or a hornet comes into the nest, the hive, they will grapple onto it and pin it down just from, like, sheer weight. And then what they do is they all flap their wings at the same time, thereby increasing the air temperature and eventually cooking the stuff inside, like underneath. Because it just gets so hot that it literally cooks it to death. I assume it would get into its wiring and circuits and tearing it apart on the inside. That assumes that a bee could chew through wiring, which I'm not convinced that's possible. Admittedly, these are quite literally killer bees. Maybe there was some other bee that, like, that I mean, I've known about this for a while, but it came up again recently. I don't remember why, but, like, it's literally a carnivore bee. Instead of eating pollen, they literally eat meat. I heard that a long time ago. Bees are awesome. Bees are really funny. Just, like, screaming. Like, when I scream bees, it's because it really is entertaining to me. Oh my god, leaving the Bowmangles at, like, a half a health. GG. Bad side really did go ham that game. I'm not gonna lie. He deserved the MVP. Bad side deserved the MVP. GG. Mago. Is Mago new? I feel like we've looked at Mago games before, but I don't remember. Mago 3718, specifically. 3,717 Magos came before this one. A magnificent initial droney. Alright, so you're crapping on more Resurrect Phobies? That's what that sounds like. Now let's talk about another factor, how effective are rotting dentures against Bowmangles. It depends on how fast you throw them. Like, imagine if you threw them... First of all, they're active. But, imagine, like, it was an MLB pitcher throwing them. Like, depending on what the dentures are made of, they could be hitting like a baseball. Bad side seems like it probably needs something made out of metal to function as teeth. The carrion bees, also nicknamed vulture bees. Yeah, there you go. Bad side got them gold teeth. No, I'm pretty sure he doesn't. Probably needs to get them replaced with gold teeth because those teeth have seen better days. Although, bad side seeming... What if they're not dentures? What if bad side's teeth are not dentures? He's just like a shark. Okay, bad side is now officially an honorary shark. Because sharks, they perpetually regrow teeth. I mean, I guess since bad side always moves with his arms, he never skips arm day, bro has to have a hell of a throat. No, his forearms have got to be super strong because he moves around on his fingers. Try and, like, do an exercise like that. Like, I think that's something that Bruce Lee used to do as an exercise, would be to hold himself up. Like, cross his legs, sit with legs crossed, and then hold himself up just on his fingertips. More like never skips finger day. I mean, there are things the internet can do with that. I think he's a shark. Apparently he's a shark. Chat, you heard it here first. Bad Side Manners is a shark. Go tell everybody in the main Phobies Discord and where you heard it from. Alright, so Droney's out here. First of all, I'm disappointed that you didn't secure the kill with Droney. That match has a lot of level difference. What, between you and your opponent? Alright, so bad guy clearly has the opportunity to get the Droney here, if they want it. But they're not going after it. They are going to go all in on killing the cat, because of reasons. I guess this is fine. Okay, sure, whatever. Puff. This is another... We've seen a lot of Puff tonight, but Puff... So far, Puff is like Owen forever. Puff is Owen forever tonight. He can regrow his mouth just like Chuck can. Chuck regrows his arm, but... I think that's just an undead thing. Don't believe that makes him a shark. Well, where else would... He's sewn together parts, and I presume the mouth sewn onto them is shark. I feel like this isn't a very big leap of logic. Like, I think you're just trying to poke holes in this because you didn't think of the idea first. Imagine how strong those fingers are to be able to move its body attached to a stretcher. Yeah. Think about how long it took him to build the finger strength to do that. Imagine, like, he's walking on his hands, right? And then he just falls on his face. And in the initial stages, he's not strong enough to pick himself up yet. Like, that sucks, right? You're right, I'm just mad. I apologize. I appreciate that you're a big enough person to admit it. And that we can grow together and move on. Yo, the droney assassin! Sniped! For some reason, I feel like Karst would really appreciate that play. I don't know why, but I feel like Karst would love that play. Somebody in Discord's like, oh, I love the commentary that you do on all the viewer games. And I'm like, yeah, but 90% of the time, well, I think I said half of the time, but like 90% of the time, we're not actually talking about the game. It's just like me forgetting things about the game or just saying random stuff. And they're like, yeah, but that's still funny. And I'm like, all right, as long as people find it entertaining. Like our scientific discovery of undeads are actually sharks, or at least some of them are. I don't really know. I mean, there's plenty of creatures that Random's Thoughts checks out. Exactly, that's the point. There are plenty of creatures that, you know, like starfish regenerate limbs. There's tons of creatures, honestly, that regenerate extreme amounts, actually. Like, I forget what kind of worm it is, but there's one that, and it's sizable, like, you can see it with the naked eye kind of thing, that you kind of can't kill it physically. You have to literally incinerate it. Because otherwise it will, like, if you cut it into multiple pieces, it will grow into, like, regenerate into however many pieces you cut it into, given enough time. So in order to kill it, you have to literally incinerate it. Yeah, axolotls also regenerate. And everybody thought Wolverine was merely in comic books. Where do you think they got the idea from? Superworm. Yeah, specifically the bug world, and I know bug isn't, like, calling it this isn't, like, the appropriate technical term, but, like, flatworm? I don't think it's the flatworm. I mean, the flatworm might be able to do that also. I don't know, but I don't think it was a flatworm. Get the gargles play. I'll be honest, I don't really understand gargles here, but, I mean, it's working. Phantom, by the way, on bad guy's side. 6 keys, though, so, like, okay, so the gargles kind of make sense here to lock down the center so that the Phantom can't just plop whatever. But the way this map is set up is, like, you can't really vault snipe that well. We do get Puff cooking things. Planarians, which are flatworms, can regenerate themselves. Okay. It may be a flatworm then, and I'm just misremembering. But yeah, the entire bug world, and for me, that's insects, other creepy crawlies, arachnids, whatever. They do heinous things to each other. Like, it's actually incredible the amount of like, huge variety of adaptations. Like, it's fascinating to look at, but they are, as mentioned, also, like, it's kind of horrifying what they can do and what they do to each other. By the way, good shove shark play to snipe the puff. I don't want to take away from that as we're talking about bugs. Sacrificing the Jin Sting, though, don't love that. Still 6 keys to 8 keys. Neither player willing to commit anything else to the board because, I don't know. I'm pretty sure Gargles cracks this turn. 4-1 panic point advantage. That's a dead Inoculus, isn't it? Dude, bad guy. Bad guy. What is with bad guy tonight? Just, like, throwing stuff away. Yeah, you're not wrong, Rybread. You're not wrong. Just get, like, it's bad. It's bad. Alright, so we finally get... Wait. Are you serious? Chat, this is like all-time bottom 5 Phantom plays. Dude, you had to Phantom a snowball? I mean, I get it. That's probably the only thing they could have reached up there, but, like... What's the opposite of cooking? Like, what is the actual... What would we call the opposite of cooking? Top 10 worst Phantom plays next video. Yeah, that would actually be funny. We just go scouring the ladder for the worst Phantom plays possible. Eating. Yeah, but it has to be the reverse of cooking. Yeah, if I was forced to Phantom a snowball, I think I'd surrender too. GG. Cooling, I guess. You know, that doesn't have the same ring to it, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't quite flow as well. Like, when you say you're cooking, like, people get the idea. If you say you're cooling, it's like, I mean, I get it. I guess. All right, X, Crowley, Russell, team wipe, Jeremy's team, lol. He actually put the lol in the notes. Who let bro cook? Yeah, but the thing that I actually don't like, I like and I don't like about, by the way, X Crowley's our hero here, in case people were wondering. The thing I like and don't like about the slang of, like, surrounding the word cook is because it's so versatile. So, like, ooh, early jammy fish. Because, like, if you say, let them cook, it's like, oh, they're doing something cool. Or it could simultaneously be, they're doing something so asinine, we want to see where it goes. Or they got cooked means, like, you cooked them because you were... Like, it just feels like it's covering both sides of things simultaneously. You know what I mean? If somebody's too cool, they're considered cold, which is a compliment. But if somebody's on fire, that's also a compliment. So I'm lukewarm on the insult. Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. Is like, we have too many temperature-related things that have multiple meanings. Eric Cake, we need to cook. What? Where did Eric Cake come into the conversation? You know, we get a Baba Yaga start, because, I don't know. Why is there a Baba Yaga? Why is this happening? Dude, I do like, I really enjoy watching Phobies games. I do wish that we had, like, there was more regular besides the events I run, level 1 stuff. Oh yeah, his profile picture. I forgot about that. I forget, the first time I saw it, I thought it was something else, and I can't remember what it was, but it was, like, so wildly unrelated, it was comical. Name a character after you. That, I'm just gonna refund you the points, because there's nothing to name you, basically. That's only for games that, like when I was playing Pokemon. Should have said you're goddamn right. Does anybody else get a, like, ninja vibe from Jammyfish's attack? It feels like almost... Dude, another boggart? Get out of here. We had all these boggarts last night, which if you're watching this on YouTube, check out the Monster of the Week video tomorrow. Check out the Monster of the Week video tomorrow. You're goddamn right. I should have said you're goddamn right. Well, Octonauty action. This game is very standoffish, given the start we had. Crowley is kind of in trouble here, given the existence of the Baba Yaga. Boggart be crazy. The thing is that Boggart got that buff, and we still haven't really seen it. We've also gotten a lot of Jammyfish activations, and it hasn't really done a lot yet. I don't think. How do I choose what games to watch? So on Sundays are viewer games that are submitted through my Discord. You can always redeem points on other nights, but the priority on Sundays is the ones that are submitted through my Discord. On Saturdays, we usually watch the Monster of the Week games. It's the tournament that I run. It's a weekly tournament. Coffee just for signing up. And then Fridays are, like, whatever. So usually that's when people redeem points. Crowley pointed out that Boggart is fun, and I said I should try it, so I opened a Dreadful, got it, and now I'm playing it. Seems fair. No joke, that's pretty much what happened. Not in one day, but that's how it played out. Jammy Fish looks like he's getting beamed up, Scotty. Does he? Does he, though? Does he, though? But yeah, Ilon, you can, if you hit up my Discord, there's a spreadsheet that, that all of these games are coming from. Like, it's a Google form. It'll ask you for all the details, so that way we can find the game. I'm a part of your Discord where it's the Reviews and Highlights channel. Yeah, there's a lot of channels because I have it broken up for different games and things like that. But there's a Reviews and Highlights channel in the Phobies category. Boggart going down, thanks to Rock Lobster. I think Lobster looks really cool when it opens its mouth. 10 keys to 11. Russell dropping the caw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's maxed out Phobies team. 2 undead, 3 undead, 3 dimensionals. That's this is like, honest to God, I don't know if you kill the Clobster here. A lot of Russell tonight, yeah. Although usually not on the winning side. Was it? Yeah, the other Russell's lost, right? I already forgot. Yeah, I think I need to clean up the Reviews and Highlights channel. So, like, I need to redo the rules for the tournament, like the rules document for the tournaments, just so it's easier to. Well, it'll never be easy to read, but like it'll be a little bit cleaner. And then I recently cleaned up the Reviews and Highlights thing, so it should be fairly straightforward. All right, so we get a Bluelian, the natural predator of Russ. Oh my God, you set yourself up. Congratulations, you played yourself. No! Not like this! Dude! You just threw away the 8 keys for Russell! No way! Yeah, Snowball to the north. Russell couldn't fly. Yeah, apparently Russell's an ostrich. It's not actually a crow. Russell's an ostrich. Or a turkey. You can't make that up. Oh my God, that's so ridiculous. That is redonkulous. All right. Russell team wiped. I mean, yeah, pretty much. Not truly, but pretty much. All right, JustRandomSt. I won't be able to do that after the patch. Sounds like we got some Phantom plays in the bucket. But is Russell really the MVP? I mean, he kind of was. Even if he didn't actually get the MVP, like, seems good. I still want Russell, that, and Bad Sheep are the 2 Phobies that I want the most right now. Hercules is another one I have my eye on, but not a top priority. It'll be interesting when Hercules is up to code, as far as levels go, for most people, because most people don't have the appropriate levels for Hercules. I don't know that it's worth it for 7 keys. Like, you do get the Mildred spread. And it's much more mobile, but it's kind of fragile. I don't know. Maybe it'll be worth it. It's hard to ignore that big of an area doing damage. Hercules is pretty scary. I mean, I've heard that from people, but I haven't seen it yet. But again, it could just be levels. So we got terraformers from both players, but our hero here dropping the Hevo Hammer. Honestly, I think I'd march the Hevo. Could wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it could not. I was gonna say put the Hevo behind the cap, but I can't reach. Bad guy immediately answering with Sparky. I mean, it looks like Sparky is like, oh yeah, I'm 100% going Sparky, and I'm getting it out there. But it's really just because Sparky's animation is so fast. I've joked about it before, but I do wonder sometimes if the devs balance some Phobies in Arena by how long the animation takes. Noxious. Panic point advantage hero. Neither player banking past this point. The counter Noxious. Indubitably. That is a Phantom. Who could have seen that coming? Probably everyone that listened to the notes at all. Noxious is so damn common on this map, it's crazy. Noxious used to show up, like, everywhere all the time, and probably with good reason. Noxious is a very good phobie. Alright, so bad guy appropriately keeping spread out so that they don't get caught by this Hevo, but honestly, you could... Well, the Phantom's not live. I was going to say you can Phantom and then snipe the jar, which would be kind of cute. Cupcake. Oh, buddy. Snowball. Cooked. That doesn't seem like the play you want to make. Kira... Alright, so what would be hilarious here is that if Just Random drops a Terraform statue, teleports the Hevo, cupcakes it, and then gets double splash onto Sparky and Crushmore, and then is able to kill them with the Noxious. We're not going for either of those plays. We're instead going to cook the Noxious down here. And the jar. You take those. Puking all over the Crushmore. Klepto is the follow-up. We got 7 keys to 6 keys, and bad guy's team is in shambles. Bad guy's stocks plummeting. Klepto is the counter. Sure. Thing is, this Crushmore is kind of exposed. 0 keys remaining. Quick realization, reminder for everybody... About to get 8 new Phobies in his next pack opening. Yeah, I'll probably get all of them. Well, maybe not all the new ones. There's still ultra rares I don't have. But I have... I don't think we're going to get more coffee before... I actually should ask them if we're going to get another set of coffee, because I might wait for that. We're at 36 or 38 right now. 1800 isn't terrible HP for 2-2. It's the same as Yeti. Will it... Wait, what? Yeti Woolly. Oh, you're still talking about Hercules? Yeah, I think he only has 1700 HP. Also, Yeti has a more defensive ability. Like, hypothetically, Freeze is way more impactful. Also, that Kerbloom play. Get wrecked, nerd. I assume you're talking about Woolly Bully, but that costs 2 less keys. And Zappy costs less keys also, and it's also not a 2-2. It's a 2-1. This comparison is awful. What are you talking about, Kuro? What? Like, none of this makes sense. It's not how this works. It's not how any of this works. The thing is, like, comparing it to arbitrary Phobies isn't a good comparison anyway. Like, the comparison that needs to be made is, like, what is an appropriate break point for X, Y, or Z? You know, like, one of the things I usually point out is, like, 400 damage is where it's like, okay, this is reasonable damage. Anything below 400 is like, okay, it's kind of anemic. 400 and above is, okay, this is solid damage. And then what is the trade-off for the remaining stats and abilities from there? Or what's the relationship between other things at that cost? And Hercules does have the uniqueness of being able to push damage to such an extreme range. Yep. See, I don't get a season pack. Which means the game client won't crash. All right, let's see here. So we'll go back, we'll cycle back to some Karst games. All of the games from here on out are repeats. So whoever was asking about how to submit a game, if you put it in the spreadsheet, we'll be able to get you in tonight. This is from the 13th. This game's probably not on Karst profile anymore. It is the very, very last game. Dimensional event challenge on my side. Opponent uses tick and a tractor. Karst always dropping the knowledge bombs on people. Flesh Crawler also just getting 50 damage buff and 300 health buff. I mean, just makes it sound like that's insignificant. Like, it goes up to 500 damage, I think. That's a lot. And then 300 health buff is also significant because it's a melee phobie. My boy is clawing towards Motherload and saying, let me pass you. Like, Flesh Crawler might be playable. I don't agree with people that were saying, like, I don't know. I still think Motherload's going to be better because it's ranged, and range is just generally more useful. It's difficult to quantify how much better ranged is than melee. Quite obviously, the devs were struggling with it for a while themselves, too, given how a lot of the melee phobies are. But, like, range is just better than melee. It's the way the game works. And Bad Side versus the World Part 2, could I submit that or what? I mean, you can put it on the list, but we'll see. I only got like 45 more minutes, so we're going to go through as many games as we can. I think Flesh Crawler is going to be great. We'll see. We'll see. So Karst is maxed out, going with a lot of 1 keys. I'm getting a deja vu feeling here. Did we already look at this game at some point? I feel like I'm getting deja vu. Sock Acid actually connecting. I mean, it's just going to get muffined here, which I guess is a reasonable trade when you think about it. It's like I'm trading my 1 key for a muffin. That isn't bad. The tick here is problematic for Karst, quite obviously. Disease is a little bit different than poison. So this is clearly bait in order to eliminate Henrietta, it appears. Because obviously the Henrietta is going to die. This play was available. It might be more to pull the Jin Sting out of position. The reason being is that, like, the Boomer, I think, was poisoned already, so it was going to die. Therefore, if you put the Octonaughty there and you didn't body block, then you could have easily just gotten it pulled. Alright, so this is pretty aggressive. Karst stuff is fairly high level, so the Bachelor should tank the trap. Jar, I know the note said dimensional only, but we've talked about this before. Karst allows themselves to use support phobies and stuff. With this buff, Flesh Crawler will have the same health as Motherload, 90 more base damage and 80 more ability damage. As it probably should have been to begin with, because A, being a mech is generally better than being undead, and being ranged is just plainly better than being melee. So I think that Flesh Crawler should have always had better stats than Motherload. We'll see if it becomes oppressive. It'll be cool to see if, like, Flesh Crawler's now meta, quote-unquote. Little grimy action. Tick is on cooldown. It already tagged the Octonaughty. Bad guy kind of getting picked apart here. Dude, that Quagmire's just dead, isn't it? You get 2, 4, 6, 7 hits? Okay, maybe it's not dead. That's dead, though. It's gotta be dead. Okay, Karst, I was gonna, like, let the jar go, but Dial, like, I don't know if I can count this as all dimensionals now. I don't know if this counts as all dimensionals. Like, Dial is kind of pushing it. Octonaughty finally goes down, but notably not from the disease. Instead, we get the disease here. Only the Stabby really cares. 0 keys to 1, now that we have Creep on the board. 0 keys to 0, because we... Dude, what? Bad guy in shambles. Flesh Crawler is definitely close to Motherload status, maybe even equal, but must wait and see first before making assumptions. Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to test it out and see, because melee is kind of a big penalty, so we'll see how well that works. Dial connect him with the Quagmire here. I really don't know. Just got Cecilia in my season pack. My condolences. Cecilia's interesting. Cecilia's interesting. Yeah, you can see F's in chat. I will give this to Cecilia. She's way more interesting than some of the other recent exclusive Phobies. Because she was a one of the exclusive ones 3 ago? 2 ago? I'm not sure. I did a video on her a while back when she was released. She might have just been the one right before Cluck Norris, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, she has, like, a cool ability, but it's just not generally that useful. Your first Ultra Rare is Fire Ant. Now, that's a good Ultra Rare. Fire Ant is, among several players, ironically, Karst one of them, they listed as probably the sleeper broken Phobie. Like, it needs to... Like, Fire Ant probably should get nerfed, is the point. GG there, Karst. Fire Ant is an extremely powerful Phobie on a variety of maps. Alright, we're going to do as many of these as we can, chat. I really hope that they're shorter games. So far, they're not. Marshall is bad guy here. SirCluelessQ is our hero. A game against one of my favorite opponents. We played a game of cat and mouse with Firkin plus Phantom with Mr. Trample's hit and run tactics. I made some greedy plays that almost cost me the game as well. All right, let's see what we got. I know there's no sound. It's because I'm looking at the spreadsheet. How many keys does Cecilia cost again? Yeah, chat's got it 6. It's clutched me a couple games. I assume you're talking about Fire Ant. If that's the case, then yes. And Prometheus before Cecilia. Yeah, that was... I couldn't quite remember. I like the idea that we, and I'm sure we'll get one that interacts with poison tiles soon. You know, stuff like, we'll eventually get something that interacts with every tile, with the exception of seemingly Abyss tiles, and then obviously there really won't be anything that interacts with panic points. You know, early Mr. Tramples. Prometheus is actually good. Prometheus has better stats, if I recall correctly, and fire tiles also come up more often than disease tiles. So the immunity to fire is more regularly relevant than disease. And as we saw in a number of games tonight, like, just stand on the disease tile. It doesn't matter. Like, the disease ticks so slowly, and it kind of has to. The disease ticks so slowly that removing them isn't that relevant. And, I mean, look at this. Even the AWOL. The AWOL is going to tank this and reclaim the panic point. Because... it doesn't matter. Do I have a Phobies tier list somewhere? I think I did one like a year ago or something and have it on YouTube. I don't typically keep tier lists because for the most part, it's very context dependent. So for example, what relevance does it have if this ultra rare is very good and this other ultra rare is very bad if you have neither? That's kind of what it comes down to. Like, the biggest problem with Phobies is the acquisition model. It's all the economic factors with Phobies. By the way, here's the Phantom. Accompanying 2 other busted Phobies, Gonzo and a Tractor. Updated one when? I mean, we could do one. We're not going to do it tonight. And we probably won't be able to do it next weekend. Because we're going to be talking about the update and actually looking at it. I mean, maybe that's a decent time to try and do it. Like, I don't think... The difference with... Cecilia also looks disgusting. Doesn't it just look like Leela? Or does it have, like, a weird animation you're talking about? The thing about tier lists for Phobies that makes them less valuable compared to, say, like a card game or something is there is no crafting system. So you never get to choose, like, oh, I'm going to get rid of all my erratics so I can level up my attractor. Like, that's not a thing you can do. Additionally, it's never about choosing before the game what you're going to use. I mean, you could do that to a degree. Like, I zoned in on this map, so all right, I know I want to do this on last rights. But it's still going to be at the mercy of your collection, where ultimately it's just going to be, okay, these are leveled up, so those are the ones I use. And then eventually you'll acquire, like if you're at my stress level, for example, if you acquire a new phobia, you can't use it for 6 months because it'll be useless. I watched Man in Yellow's tier list. He included info that was pretty good. I was really underusing Hevo until I watched him explain the phobies. I mean, it would probably be good for me if I did do a tier list. They typically are very good content-wise. Like, people love lists. The problem is that, and this is not a knock against Man in Yellow, because I do appreciate a lot of the stuff they do, but, again, it's context dependent. So if it's not, like if I did a tier list for Last Rites as a map, that's going to look wildly different than Billy's Room, which is going to look wildly different from Opticon, which is going to look wildly different from Moai, which is going to look wildly different from, and you get the idea. There are some that are generally useful, like Hevo, for example, is like your Hevo, Jin Sting, things like that. It is very difficult for them to be bad. Also, good play here, shutting down the Phantom. It is very difficult for them to be bad in any given situation. They're certainly not optimal in a lot of scenarios. But again, it's going to be contingent. Like, the optimal play is only going to be available if you literally own the thing, whatever the thing is. And at a given stress level, certain things are better or worse. So, for example, you can be much more liberal in your use of Jar Cannon before Snowball, because your opponent just literally can't get to it in certain places, or they can't get to it in less places. But once Snowball starts showing up in your games, you need to protect it much more. And even, or other things like Shove Shark. Shove Shark suddenly getting the Mr. Trample's crushing AWOL. Cecilia's angry eyes, Leela doesn't. Ace also got bad temperament too. I think Ace is just misunderstood. Doesn't look like Cecilia's angry eyes to me. I gotta look at Cecilia, like, in-game. I gotta look at Cecilia in-game. I did an entire video on it, and I'm like, even in the video, I said, like, yeah, who cares? So I didn't really pay much attention to it. But yeah, I probably should do a tier list, or do it the way that Karst does, which, Ilond, if you haven't looked at Karst's documents, if you look at Karst documents, now, Karst has a lot of suggestions for both balance related as well as general game updates and things like that. But if you look at the balance document, for example, you can kind of assume that all the ones that say these need a nerf, those are overpowered ones. All the ones that are pretty good, well, there you go. Like, you can figure it out. Like, it's pretty self-explanatory. That's another one you could look at. And you can kind of reverse engineer, like, oh, well, the reason Karst is saying this thing is overpowered is for these reasons. Therefore, I would want to use it in those scenarios because it's super powerful. Or, you know, whatever the phobia in question happens to be. And I think Karst has a write-up for literally every phobia. Karst scrolls in his library of words and documents. I used to write up documents like that for other games, but honestly, nobody reads them. Not nobody, but they are read much less than people watch videos. Put it that way. Alright, we're just going to trade detractors here, it appears. Jar immediately rethinking its decisions. Ooh, we're not going to trade. Alright, the body block from Tramples. Is that in your Discord too? If you ping Karst in my Discord, he'll post a link. I think I might have it in pins. If it's not, it's in the Mentor program channel, I think. Karst has, like, a command for it, basically. But if you ask in my Discord, somebody will get you the link. It's just a bunch of Google Docs. Just like how Misanthrope's clamps are not literally functional in the card art. Yeah, the card art does differ from the sprites in a bunch of scenarios. By the way, our hero looks like they're getting bodied here at this stage. They do have a panic point advantage and a significant one. Bad guy's out of keys, but, like, this Tramples is not long for this world. You have, like, Shove Shark and Firkin, and that's it. Well, the Clinico, I guess, brought it back up. Rusty, our savior. And Tickles. To be fair, I guess Misanthrope's clamps, claws, what grippers, whatever, can technically be functional, even given the issues. Is Noxious live? Noxious is live. This game should be over. I guess Noxious is not live, or they clearly would have just vomited on 4 things and killed them all. But, like, you could still... Like, yes, they don't fit together perfectly, but, like, just because they're off doesn't mean they wouldn't work in any capacity. Dude, is this erratic dead? No way. Wow. Technically, if something's lodged, it's gonna... Well, I can tell you right now, it ain't gonna feel good. I can tell you right now, it will not feel good if you got clamped by Misanthrope. You're not gonna have a good day. It's just that simple. Mr. Trample's on the heart. Hilariously, the dimensional pole still displaces the, Wait, what? Is that really the best Phantom play that could have been made? Just isn't very neat, yeah. Boom. Clinico the assassin. Even Shove Shark's getting in on the action. Panic Point advantage orange, though, so no additional damage for our hero, but, I mean, at this stage... Oh, man, you gotta sink 3 attacks into this? Oof. Yeah, that game's over. Bullfrog going ham. Mr. Tramples. He angy. Got him. GG, Clueless. Rocking the dial avatar. I didn't point that out earlier, because we were disappointed in something about Clueless's game. I don't remember what it was, but GG. Benny using his top bone to move his left arm to say goodbye is a cool idle animation. Yeah. Jeremy. Show me some short games, chat. Nah, these are like medium games. These are medium games. Jeremy, let's go. The first Akira game I'm proud of, featuring attractor death noises. What is it with people and attractor death noises tonight? Was it also Jeremy that said something about... Yeah, Jeremy wanted me to do an attractor death noise impression. That was what prompted the whole soundboard discussion, and like I don't know why that's happening. I was thinking about this earlier, and now you have to think about it. Okay, Atona, you took that from a commercial. Or a YouTube short. Jeremy has a weird fetish. Yeah, don't... Look, we're not going to kink shame attractor death noise fetish. Think about that sentence. Did you wake up today and thought that you would hear that sentence uttered? Did you wake up today and think that you would hear, don't kink shame attractor death noises? Because, I'll be honest, it's probably crossed my mind that I would have to say that at some point. Or some derivative of that. I'm not going to lie. Like, the things that happen when we're watching viewer games, and the scenarios that come up are always so astronomically insane. Honestly, no more weird than people that are into feet. Yeah. I was in someone else's chat. I forgot what game it was. And, like, somebody threw a game, right? Like, whatever game they were playing, they threw a game because they went after some minor thing that they shouldn't have done and thereby threw the game. And someone in chat goes, that player cares more about whatever the thing was than they love toes. And I'm just like, dude, that you can't recover from that. There's no coming back from that. They might have even said toesies, which makes it even worse. That's somehow worse. Happy. How depressing. Nobody wants to see Happy. Get Happy out of here. I'm telling you, Happy really needs... I mean, aside from the fact that Happy sucks, we really need Happy to have its angry animation all the time when it's activated. To me, it's ridiculous that it only shows up for like a half a second. All right, we're getting the big build up here. Eventually, there'll be a play of some kind. Apparently, we're sniping the Innocuous. This is actually pretty sick. This is a great play. And I'm fairly certain that... Wait, do you really need the Happy hit? So here's the big question. Can the Ray Chargels snipe our hero's Innocuous? And I'm pretty sure they can't. Levels? Probably. Happy should have with the first hit animation. What? What does that mean? What should Happy have? An apple? Maybe a pineapple. Happy should have a pineapple. I honest to God, have no idea. Because have, like having as in parting into two, also makes no sense here. I guess it should look like it's angry animation from then on after the first hit. I mean, that's what I said before, so now we're like, I don't know. There's like a lot of nothing happening in this game. The Shove Shark play was great, and then we're now stalling. No, I mean, even after the buff wore off? No, because there needs to be differentiation between which state it's in. And I don't think that the, you know, like the wavy lines that you get when you get buffed is sufficient. I mean, it is, but it would be way cooler if he just had that other part of the animation all the time. Are you really going to boop this? Oh, for a second I thought they were going to, like, boop the attractor and pull, which makes no sense. Alright, Akira, so that's how this game is going to end. Sometimes when I watch viewer games and stuff like this happens, I kind of just want to be like, alright, game's over, and then just go to the next replay, because like, inevitably this Akira is going to just annihilate bad guy, right? Especially since the animation clearly exists, might as well get better use of it. Yeah, I'd really love to know why they chose to do that. Like, is there a limitation, or would they need, you know, like, are they paying by the frame? So they would need 30 more frames to make it idle. I'm just making a number up, but, like, say they need 30 or 100 or 1,000 more frames, whatever, for it to idle in the angry state. And therefore, they didn't want to do it because it would have cost more or something like that. I'm not really clear on why the Cerberus showed up here. But it's a 3-to-1 panic point advantage, and eventually bad guy's going to push in here. 0 keys, 0 keys. I still think advantage hero because eventually the Akira gets there, but... Wouldn't they have to make new idols for Angry Happy and a tap animation? Possibly. The tap animation, yes. Because that doesn't exist, as far as I know, in the angry state. But they could hypothetically just have it, like, swing back and forth where it's screaming the whole time. Boop. Yo, the attractor didn't die? That's less than ideal. Trump says that Cerberus is a counter to attractor and then asks why it's here. I don't think it is on a big map, though. Like, on a small map, I guess maybe I haven't always pointed out that context, but, like, Cerberus or Glob or something seems like it could hypothetically be a counter to attractor on a small map, because you can actually connect. But here, it's like, you needed an extra 9 keys to even... Well, you needed an extra 12 keys to get it to connect with the attractor, and it didn't even kill it. Now, it is doing some work here because it's obviously soaking up a bunch of damage. You know, like, it's not dead despite being diseased, despite getting hit with a juiced Kivo. So, like, there's value there, but... I think one thing is that for our hero, they ended up with too many one-movers. Like, this is a supremely awkward setup here. Alright, prioritizing the Ray. Which I kind of get. Kind of. Down goes Gonzo. This is going to be really bonkers Kivo 3.0 stuff, potentially. Also, for the record, I don't know if Cerberus is actually a counter to attractor, because I don't think I've ever seen it work. It just works in theory. Every time I've seen people try it, it's like, oh, well, somebody did this against Alien Engineer, and it almost got there. So against a mere mortal, it should work, right? But I haven't really seen that come up all that often. Most of the time, people, you know, like the attractor takes over. I can't believe the Cerberus lived. Are you serious? Wow. Okay. I wish the sun would go down, and being up until 9-ish is excessive. True. I'm not a big fan of this thing called summer. Kind of sucks. Let's go back to winter. Down goes bad guy. GG. Chat, we're probably going to get in like 2 more games. So we got to rush. Show me short games. If somebody has like a 40-turn game, I almost want to skip it. Did we already not? I'm not joking. All the games are starting to run together, and I kind of feel like we already watched this, but I don't know. But anyway, DD is our hero here up against Shinra. Interesting game. Boss with a tractor versus Chuck with Gonzo Bonzo. So those are the notes from an earlier game that I read that I mixed up with a different game. 34 turns, yeah, they're just coming in under that 40. Womp womp. Happens in the winter sometimes. What happens in the winter sometimes? That the sun stays out till 9 p.m.? I don't think that's true. Unless you're, like, in Alaska. Sidewalks get icy. I mean, yes, that is true. That's absolutely true. Classic boss. So, at the moment, there's 3 more games in the queue, chat. I gotta take a break after this game. We'll see if we can get the other 3 in. We'll go a little bit over tonight, and then it'll be a real pain in the ass to edit, because it'll be longer. I kind of just need to get out of the basement, because it is cooking. I gotta turn the fan back on tonight to get some air circulation. We're getting a fairly standard build-up here. Terraformers for both players. Makes sense. Little attractor action. Chomp's cooked, always. Dude, I'm not kidding. Part of it's because of the hat. Part of it's because of the hat. But, like, I'm seriously sweating. Like, it is hot. It is very hot. I had to do this a few times last summer. And, well, the last few summers when I stream, is I just turn the camera off, and then I turn all the lights off to try and minimize heat generation. Chuck. I still say one of the more interesting things about Chuck is that, like, most of its teeth look flat, meaning that it primarily eats greens. It does have what looks like an incisor. And I guess maybe the front teeth could hypothetically be like human front teeth, where they're more pointed. But I'm interpreting them to be a mouthful of molars. And Chuck is a vegetarian. Vegetarian brains. Which I actually was thinking about this the other night. I don't know why. Like, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I started thinking about the 1970s Night of the Living Dead, like the very first one, where this is zombies that would eat brains as opposed to zombies just eating people, right? And I haven't seen that movie in forever, but I do recall them. There was a scene, like, obviously they eat several people throughout the movie, but there was a scene where, like, somebody calls the cops come, and the zombies set a trap, because the zombies can actually think in this. They remember their lives, and the reason that they, by the way, great Shove Shark play. They remember their lives, it hurts to be dead. That's why they eat brains, because it alleviates some of the pain. So what they do is they swarm the squad car, eat the cops, and then pick up the radio and radio for more cops, so that they have more people to eat. But the thing I don't remember, and I don't think they ever show it on screen, for probably understandable reasons. Also, I'm getting, like, extreme deja vu with this game. I feel like we watched this game. Probably during Monster of the Week. I don't know. But anyway, what I don't remember is, like, I have to imagine, because human bite force is pretty strong, but it's nowhere, I don't think it's anywhere near, like, the top of the animal kingdom bite force, right? Is it actually possible to, like, bite through a human skull? Or is it implied that the zombies are, like, just literally beating these people to death and cracking their head open? Not even close? That's what I was thinking. But also, like I said, I had this thought at, like, 3 in the morning. And I'm, like, trying to fall back asleep. But then it was just bothering me. Because I'm like, how did the zombies do it? Did they literally just, like, club these guys? Because that's the only way it would make sense, right? Like, they just bludgeon them until the head pops open, and then they eat the brains. And then it begs the question, like, in The Walking Dead, the show, you see a lot of the time, like, people get swarmed, and they tear a person apart, and they eat them. Okay, that makes sense. You could have multiple zombies feed on a single person. If they're only eating the brain, first of all, the human brain is large, but it's not that large. You're not going to feed, like, dozens of zombies. And then clearly just physically being around them, because there's only the one cavity to get at, like, they just would be incapable of having multiple zombies feed on it. You know what I mean? I think that Chuck's bite force is so strong that it doesn't need canines. It simply crushes meat into ground beef. Possibly? I mean, I think there were records of dinosaurs that are they are omnivores, but only in times of necessity. I'm sure there are other animals that are the same way, where it's like they are herbivores. But if there's scarce food, you get eaten. It's like, it's a way, it sucks to suck. You're smaller than me, you get nommed. Squirrels are like that too. I think maybe not rabbits, but, like, rabbits are vicious, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did it too. Hey, look, it's a tuna. We got popcorn. 1 billion degrees in Iowa, cooking all the corn. A lot of animals are like that. Yeah, I mean... This is what happens when I have to rush through a bunch of games and we can't, like, spend time on each game. Be like, oh, look at this cool play. Let me rewind it, and then we'll talk about all these things. It's just like, we got to get through the games. We're just going to talk about random stuff, and if it happens to be related to the game, it is. This also, I don't think is... I don't remember there being a Bad Omen in the game that I'm remembering, but I do remember a Chuck boss game on this map recently, and that's why I was thinking of this, but I don't remember the Bad Omen. The low tonight is supposed to be 80. The coolest it's getting is something that would be hot in most places. Yeah, exactly. You gotta be an old person now and be like, but what about the humidity? Is it a dry heat? Dude, 80 degrees is just hot. Stop. Let's get out of here. Tomorrow it's supposed to be almost 100 degrees and raining. That's not going to be fun at all, I can tell you that right now. It rained somewhat here today, and I'm hoping it... Because my wife was like, oh, it dropped 15 degrees in like 20 minutes. I'm like, to what? 85? This is why we need permanent health bars, so that's just up, so that way that, like, we can... Wait, are we getting another boop? Yeah, we are. Alright, shove shark down. Yeah, Chuck kind of took over here. Once... It is the advantage of having the undead life leech that, like, you can kind of get that bully position where your opponent can't actually... You know, there is a threshold that once it is crossed, your guy cannot die. Gonzo trade. Corn going down momentarily. GG. Oh, you can't even kill the shove shark. Ouch down population you, bro. GG. GG. Alright, chat. I gotta take a quick break, then we'll look at the last few games. We'll close it out before the patch. The ladder's gonna be a disaster. Gotta be this game. It's the same opponent in both of those games on the same day. Like, how am I supposed to know which one you want? Alright, our hero here is mech-ode. More bad side shenanigans. Bad side versus the world. Monkey business. I can only imagine there's a Gonzo, quite obviously. Unless there's a primate. I do love DT's assessment of Whiskers from when we did the trailer breakdown. DT's like, oh, it's Doom Doom number 9. Alright, this is what I'm talking about. I hate these openers. Why do you have Boom here? Why do you have Boom? I hate these kind of openers. They drive me crazy. Because, like, the Boom is just going to fart around and do nothing for 1,000 turns, because you can't expose it, and the only thing you can possibly get is a 1 key. Like, Boom is fine, but it's the same thing with Boomer and some of these other more niche 1 keys where it's like, you got to use them in the appropriate usage. I use Kerbloom, it's good for control. It's not here is the problem. So, like, yes, you can zone your opponents with these things. But early in the game like this, you're just asking for it to get accidentally killed. Like, trivially. Especially since, given what your opponent was putting on the board, like the corn is never going to get killed by Boom, right? Well, actually, now it is, because... What the... Alright, well, if your opponent's just going to offer stuff up, I guess... They do realize that, like... Can the Boom not kill the, Okay. Like... Why did they let this happen? Alright, so here's the thing. This should never happen. It should not happen. But it does. And that's why we talk about it on replays. Now, admittedly, compared to other maps where Klypto may show up more quickly or something like that, Boom is less susceptible. But there's always the risk of Jar just sniping it, and it's like, oh, I just lose it for free. which is what I always envision whenever I watch these games. Like, oh, there's a boom out there. And we've seen it happen tons of times where, like, the boom's just there and it's like, oops, it's dead. It's like, all right, you just lost a key for literally no purpose. It's never going to connect with corn. Boom proceeds to connect with corn. Exactly. Like, because the... This is what I'm talking about. Like, this is why I was able to connect with corn. This is why I was able to connect with corn. The same reason that bad guy let the snowball cook the jar. You're just more experienced, not everyone is. Yes, I mean, that's why we do this, but trust me, it doesn't matter how experienced you are. People make boneheaded plays up and down the ladder. That's why it's funny to watch some of the it's entertaining to watch low stress level games, because a lot of people did, like, everybody who's been playing for a while can see these things coming a mile away. But then, see, like, again, this boom is probably just going to die trivially and do nothing. I don't think you need to be an experienced player to look at that and go, yeah, this is not going to work out. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about this. This is just like, mech-ode, I feel like you're just picking on someone. Like, you're just bullying somebody right now. Dude, this cupcake it's too late. It's too late. It's not helping you now. 3 keys remaining. Gonzo still has time before it's back. You know what's funny is this game is way closer than it has any right to be, given what bad guy was doing. No, this is a bad side spotlight, I swear. Dude, you were just bullying this poor person. Mech-ode for the lulz. Okay, I was about to say, if bad side survived that, then you can't, like, we're just leaving the game. I mean, there's only one turn left, but... Okay, if bad guy runs the Slayer away, I'm gonna get really angry. If bad guy tries to run the Slayer away, I'm gonna get really angry. I think they just surrender. Okay, yeah, this is the last turn. They just surrender. GG. Good God. There were so many things in that game that are just like, why did this happen? Why does it have to be like this? It didn't have to be this way. Alright, we got another Karst game. Alright, Karst. A good match to show Kaboom is fine. The problem is purely Phantom. A few people have been complaining about Kaboom lately, so I thought it might be worthwhile to show he's pretty manageable. Here we go. I don't think... admittedly, I don't... So I don't read a lot of the main Discord, or Facebook, or anything like that, for that matter, because it's often filled with lunacy. Like, some of the takes on there are just, like, galaxy brain, 50 million IQ, in the most sarcastic way humanly possible. Like... some of the takes are just so bad that it's like you can't be serious. This has to be a troll, but they're serious. I wouldn't put Kaboom being problematic in that category. Like, somebody could have that opinion. It's wrong, but you can have that opinion. I do like the triple 1 key opener from Karst here, though. Something to keep in mind for the future. Going from it's not Phantom, it's Kaboom, feels like a lot. I think there's an assumption being made there that you want what Phantom does to the game, which I think is fair. Like, if somebody told me the game needs to be balanced, like, keep Phantom at 3 pre-patch, obviously, like, pre-patch announcement, that, like, let's say they were never going to nerf Phantom, and somebody said, hey, we're going to balance the game around the existence of Phantom. You're doing a lot of work when you could do way less work by nerfing Phantom, but I kind of get it, because people would like that sort of thing. Like, it's possible for someone to enjoy that play pattern. This feels like a stretch to... Like I said, I don't doubt that someone stated that, or multiple someones, but... I mean, that's a hot take. Why does sheep ability poison my whole team has to be a complaint? 100% has happened. Think of any complaint about balance for Phobies. Okay, Karst, come on. You're gonna... Kaboom is fine if you have boss. Come on. Also, why did bad guy go paddles? Paddles is absolutely now the poor man's Phantom. Paddle's positioning seems weird, but it's really not. Also, bad guy, like, look at bad guy's heart. Embodied here. So this is kind of a... Alright, so we get Shove Shark into paddles? Or paddles into Shove Shark? Alright. So, a couple comments about this. One, we have boss as a counter to Kaboom. Right, that's already a problem. Two, bad guy absolutely seems like they're memeing here. Because if you're going Shove Shark paddles with Kaboom, you're not planning on winning the game. I don't think. Three, I think this is yet another example of where things are supposed to be countered by certain things, or can be hard countered by things in Phobies. And that can be a problem. Both from the perspective of hard counters even existing, I don't like that. And also from the perspective of... And don't get me wrong, like, there should be counters to things. Some things are going to be better against other things just because of the way they function. I don't know what the hell bad guy's doing here, other than losing. But I've said this before, and I even mentioned it to Karst. I don't remember if we talked about it on the podcast, but on a long enough timeline, I think Phobies will run into the problem where I put X on the board. If you don't answer with... You have... Or we're at a certain... This is a better way to phrase it. We're at a certain point in the game, say there's 6 keys left, and we're on Home Sweet Home. I could put Phobie A, B, or C on the board. All of them require explicitly linear answers. Like, you have to have the correct response or you lose. Think about a tractor on a small map, where, like, if you don't have the key, like, you weren't pre-prepared for a tractor to show up, you're gonna lose, because the attractor's just gonna take over. Now, imagine if there's 20 versions of a tractor that all do that, basically. Where they will take over the game and win the game, but you need different responses to each of them. You can't just go, oh, I have a bunch of generic guys. And I think that that will eventually happen, barring other changes. Because you can only go horizontally so far before you end up getting to the point where you're effectively having to play different games because of the way the interactions work, or don't work. You think they'll ever make a new type? It's not impossible, but I highly doubt it. I don't see what a new type does for the game. Also, yeah, like, yes, we answered Kaboom in this game, but, like, and I agree, Kaboom isn't a problem. But the answer here was an 8-key ultra rare. Admittedly, positioning did matter, obviously. But it's an 8-key ultra rare as the answer, because your opponent could never expose it. And they also were clearly memeing. I don't think there's any world in which you could look at what phobies they put on the board and say, yep, they were playing this game seriously. Did a decent build I posted in the Hearthstone channel. Alright, check it out after the stream. Yeah, I actually thought after I said I was going to play Battlegrounds tomorrow, after Star Wars, I was thinking maybe we do HOTS instead. I don't know. I haven't decided. We'll figure it out tomorrow. Is Boss immune to fire? No, he can cook himself. The only phobia that's immune to fire is Prometheus. Alright, last game of the marathon. We're closing out with SirCluelessQ. We're back on last rights. What are the notes for this? Running Leela testing. Turns out she can be very useful on last rights. Alright. Show me. Channel my inner Dan McClellan. Alright, let's see it. Here's a chance to see Cecilia, how lucky. I mean, if by Cecilia you mean Leela, then yes. Did I say Cecilia? I feel like I said Leela. Can't tell if chat's gaslighting me right now. I thought I saw her on the MVP screen. Okay, I'd never look at that. When I zone into the games, I'm not paying attention to any of that, so it's possible. Okay, that is Cecilia. The notes say Leela. So I don't... Now I'm like... Now I'm completely confused. Okay, she looks... with the exception of a color change, and... Does Leela have spots? I don't think Leela has spots. Also, I don't see the angry eyes thing that people were talking about. Unless you're talking about, like, when she rotates, you can see the underneath of the mushroom. It kind of looks like eyebrows. Okay, so we're eating some tiles here. Chomp is so tired that he keeps reading it wrong. No, it says Leela in the notes. She looks devious. That's just because I think it's supposed to be like the underside of the mushroom. Because you can see like the lines, you know, that I don't know what that's actually called on the underside of the mushroom. Look, chat, I may be a lot of things, but I'm not a mushroomologist. I don't know what that is. You missed it? Oh, that? Okay. When she, instead of doing the ooh-woo face, she has the more devious look. Sure. Whatever. Okay, so, whoever in chat opened up Cecilia. Maybe. Leela has spots too? Okay, I couldn't remember. I do love the Radiator here. Radiator deserves more play. Honestly, I could see Radiator getting a slight HP buff. Like I said, I would kind of like to see 100% or near 100% of the melee phobies get pushed. Hey, what a surprise. The boom that was randomly there died. Who could have possibly seen that coming? This is actually a cool play, the challenge setup, in order to get the double kill here. Like, that's actually pretty sick. Bad guy in shambles. Halfy with the body block. So I'm not going to lie. I was going to say that the Cecilia has done nothing. But it's okay. I played Townscape to level 40 for 13k coffee worth. It took me 16 days. I don't know what Townscape is. I haven't done any of the offers. What if Boom were still alive right now, though? It'd be pretty good. If things were completely different, they'd be different. If I won the game, I wouldn't have lost. Dude, oh my god. Wait, is Fireball up again? No, it can't be, right? Oof. That guy in shambles. It's getting cooked here. Oh, the Bluelian. You love to see Bluelian. I'm telling you, Bluelian reminds me of the Guyver. Does anybody remember that movie? I think it was a TV series or comic book, too. Probably was, like, everything. The reason being is I haven't seen that movie in, like, probably, like, 30 years. But I remember the Guyver having, like, elbow blades was, like, his main, like, he's this cool-looking, like, biological Power Ranger, essentially. Like, his suit is like a biosuit, and then he has, like, elbow blades that come out. And that's kind of all I remember, other than him fighting, like, horrible... like, I didn't remember it being bad, but there was a random YouTube video a while ago that I watched talking about it, and then they showed what the monsters look like in the suits, and I'm like, oh, man. It's bad in all the right ways. I think I remember that. Wasn't Guyver an alien suit that crash landed on some random guy? Got it? I think so. And then, like, what ended up happening was the bad guy was, like, bioengineering or, like, either bioengineering creating monsters or the same thing, like, from the same planet that the Guyver came from. They end up, like, collecting the other alien DNA or something and then making monsters, essentially. The classic, like, I'm going to take over the world with alien tech kind of thing. Yeah, it was definitely a megacorp. Either a megacorp or, like, you know, not mercenaries. You know, like one of those situations. And then I remembered, like, vaguely the fight scenes at the end, like, once the guy is in the suit, suited up, fighting all these crazy monsters and stuff. Like, the designs were cool. I kind of remember them being cool. But they were, like... I think it was in the 90s is when the movie came out, but it looked like bad 80s tech, so even then people were like, this looks dumb. But I think, looking back on it, it probably is one of those it's so bad it's good scenarios. And when I saw it, you know, naturally being younger, it didn't bother me as much that it looked like crap. You know, we get the counter radiator. I'll be honest, I can't really gauge how valuable the Cecilia was. It clearly did stuff, and there were times where, like, the Klepto being positioned where the Cecilia is now, with the lack of the poison tile or the disease tile, means that the Klepto lived way longer than it would have otherwise. But could you have instead spent the 6 keys on something more immediately and even over the long haul of the game impactful and done the same thing? I don't know. Interesting to see Leela. Yeah. Chat trolling. Oh. Oh, I thought the radiator was going to get the AoE. It actually is going to kill the Kerbloom, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it kills the Kerbloom here. I feel like you could have taken the panic point with Bluelian and that would have been better, but I guess it doesn't matter. That's so weird because it pulls at the same time. That Cecilia got so many free hits. It's true. Like, it's tough for me to tell because the positioning, like, the game clearly would have been wildly different if Cecilia was literally any other phobie. However, would it be literally any other phobie? Like, what if Cecilia was an arbitrary 6-cost mech? Or it was Hevo 1.0 way earlier in the game or something like that. All right, let's not get crazy. I don't think Hoovy is the phobie we're looking for here. I couldn't think of a 6-cost ranged mech, honestly. Which it could have just been a tractor, but I don't know if SirClueless has a tractor. Like, I like that Cecilia's doing something here. I mean, if we want to compare it to a 6-cost melee mech, like, that's probably not unreasonable. Because same key cost, same regular attack, still immune to the disease tiles. It's just you don't get to free up space for the Klepto. That's the big difference. And would it have been as or more impactful than the Cecilia? And to be honest, I'm not really sure, which isn't necessarily winning a lot of points for Cecilia, but it clearly made a difference in this game because the Klepto would not have been able to do what it did, and there were a couple other phobies that had spaces freed up, but for the most part, it was like hanging out on a disease tile. It's like, okay, well, I could have done that with any mech. I don't know. I gotta see more games of it. But chat, that is the entire spreadsheet. Replays will break, of course, when the patch goes live, which is in just a couple of days. We'll be back at the end of the week so that we can both talk about the patch, do the pack opening, see what we get, all that fun stuff. We did find out from the devs the content affiliates will not be getting Phobies for freezies this time. They've only done that twice. I think both were for the anniversary. No, because I got Daisy, so it was one of the Halloween ones and then the second anniversary. I don't know what's driving when they do it or not, but we're not doing it this time, so it is what it is. The balance patch discussion video will go up tomorrow. As soon as I get the assets, I'll create a new thumbnail, and then the trailer breakdown will probably go up Tuesday. Hopefully they get us the assets tomorrow, or I'm going to have to make it up. If you're interested in Phobies tournaments, participation coffee is involved. Hit up the Random Thoughts Discord, weekly Monster of the Week events. We do have Async running that has no prizes. Only Monster of the Week does. I'm confident someone's going to say that I said it the other way and get annoyed, but that's what it is. Monster of the Week has prizes. A-Shriek does not. Yeah, check out the Discord. Like, subscribes, blah, blah, blah. That's going to do it for this time. So as always, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and tune in next time for more Random Thoughts.